Please, take a seat here, on the couch. Now, I've got some questions for you, but I'm sure the more important questions are going to come from all of you guys out there. My Twitter is Patrick Gomez LA, PatrickGomezLA. Find me on there, send over some questions, I'll make sure to get to those towards the end. But no, thank you so much for being here. How's your VidCon going so far?
It's been really good. We're staying at a different hotel. Normally we stay at the Hilton, and it's absolute madness, but we've been staying somewhere else and just taking shuttles here, so it's been a little bit more calm, but...
You need that balance of you want to be amongst the people, but then you also want to have that alone time.
Exactly.
So talk to me, now this isn't your first VidCon, how has it changed since you first started coming?
Well, I mean, it's just been getting bigger and better, and more people have been coming, which is amazing. I feel like I've also been more prepared for it each year. But yeah, last night I performed in the arena. That was my second arena performance, and it was so fun. There's so many people. It was amazing.
Now, obviously you spend a lot of time creating content that you put up online and recording covers and your own music and all that kind of stuff. Do you enjoy that process more, or getting out in front of an audience and performing?
Definitely getting out in front of the audience. I mean, obviously it's important to write the songs and record the songs and practice and rehearse, but once I get to be face to face, it makes it all worth it.
Now, take us back to the beginning. Was singing always something you were into doing? When did that all start?
Well, it started when I was 2 years old, when I was in diapers, running around the house singing "I Want Much More Than This Provincial Life" or Beauty and the Beast. And then from there, just slowly progressed into songwriting, and then piano, and then drums, and guitar, and then YouTube.
And talk to me about deciding to make that first video, to put yourself out there, because I watch YouTube videos all day long, but deciding to actually you know what, I'm going to set up a camera, I'm going to put it together, and I'm going to post it.
I mean, I filmed a lot of videos before I actually posted my first one, and I immediately deleted them. It was like a year process of recording things and deleting them. And then one day I was just like, you know, I just have to put it out there, otherwise I'm never gonna know. And within the first 6 months, I was getting calls from the Ellen Show, from Jonas Group Management. At the time, we're managing the Jonas Brothers in Denver, Nevada, and they were flying me out to LA for meetings. That was 6 months of doing YouTube, and I was like, oh wow, that's what 6 months looks like. I wonder what would happen if I graduated early from high school and dedicated everything to my YouTube channel. And 8 years later, it's my full-time job, which is amazing.
And what did your family think about the fact? Because obviously there's a lot going into making yourself public, and especially at that young age.
Yeah, my family, they were always super, super supportive of it. Especially my dad. I remember when I got a full-ride scholarship to a music school to be a part of a glee choir, which, I mean, full-ride scholarship to any college is amazing, right? But at music school specifically, my dad sat me down and he's like, I don't think you should go. I think that you should dedicate all your time and energy to the YouTube channel. And if in a couple years it doesn't work out, you can always go back to college, but you can't get these next 4 years back of your life, and I think that you need to stay dedicated to the project that you're working on. So what dad comes up to their daughter and is like, please don't go to college, please just move to LA and do music. So I trusted him, and that's what I did, so.
And is singing and performing in your family's background?
My dad is a guitar player, so I always grew up with rock and roll, AC/DC, Bon Jovi music in my household. Yeah, so I have rock roots, but then also he played in a worship band at church too, so rock and roll, Christian music. What better combination?
Now, you mentioned you did a lot of videos, you took them down until you finally decided to put one up. Other than the decision to just say, screw it, I'm going to put it up there no matter what people think, what do you feel how did those videos evolve over that year? How did you learn as a creator and as a YouTuber, as a singer?
Well, I spent a lot of time studying the YouTube platform, because I think first you have to be a student of whatever craft you're going to be doing. So I watched a lot of people, their channels, and how they were doing it, and kind of formed a plan for myself. And then I also spent every day, 5 hours a day, playing guitar and singing and just honing on my own craft. And so when I got enough confidence in myself that I was like, okay, I think that I sound decent, I think I can do this, and then I understood the platform in which I was going to start posting my music on, those combinations. So just knowledge and practice, I think, make you more confident in your craft.
Yeah, one of the things I think people are starting to have a larger understanding of now is that I think for a while the image of people that didn't know what really YouTube was or what a YouTuber or a digital creator was, they thought, oh, they're just like making a 20-second video and posting it. There's a lot of work that goes into it. Have you noticed that people have been a lot more appreciative of what goes into being a digital creator these days?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I remember taking meetings even 2 years ago and having people look at the format of my channel and how I was doing it and seeing it as not being legitimate, even though the numbers I was pulling in were like pretty incredible compared to a lot of emerging music artists. But like today, going into a meeting, my YouTube channel means so much more, and I wield so much more power, which is also a really good message and a really good lesson to learn. Is like, you have to build it all yourself. Nobody's going to build it for you. Nobody's going to want it for you as much as you are. So that's why it really has to come from you to stay dedicated to your project.
Now, when you, obviously your own music is a different beast, but when you're considering what you want to cover, walk me through some of your favorite covers that you've done and why you chose those songs.
So my choice for cover songs, a lot has to do with what music is trending at the time, because covering songs is a bit of a marketing ploy to bring in an audience who's like, for example, Ed Sheeran's Shape of You song is my biggest video this year so far. It's 22 million views, which is pretty incredible. It's been a while since I've had one of those videos. But the reason it did so well was because I covered it 5 days after he dropped his single. So everybody is searching for Ed Sheeran and then all the songs that he releases after that, the album. So it's about drawing in a new audience and then hoping that the content on your channel is good enough that they'll stay and want to stick around. So it has a lot to do with that. But my favorite songs that I get to cover are the ones that happen, like when I strip them down from what they were. Like for example, Titanium is the biggest video on my channel, and that was one of my favorites to do, and I had no idea it was going to blow up when I did it. But like I stripped it down from a dance song into a tragic love ballad, and I had no idea that that was what the song was about. But that's the thing, when you get a hit song, right, it doesn't matter whether it's produced in an EDM fashion or you play it on a piano, it's a hit song. And so I learned a lot about what makes a hit song through doing all these cover songs, which helped me a lot with my songwriting.
What's the songwriting process for you, and what have you found works, what doesn't work for you in terms of creating and crafting a song?
Yeah, so when I go in to write for my own original music, well, it first starts with my phone, so I have a million notes. So every time I think of, oh, that's a good lyric, that's a good song title, or oh, that's a really cool melody, I'm like always recording them. And so then when I can squirrel them away on my little acorns, and then when I go into the session, then I start vibing with the producer, I have them start playing me something, and then I'm like, oh, I have the perfect song that goes with this exact emotion, or I have this perfect title or melody that would go great with this, and then we start combining it and turning it into something amazing. I've also found with the writing process, being spontaneous is really, really important. Like, I think that overthinking it is like the killer of creativity in a songwriting session. You just have to naturally let yourself say what you want to say. You know what you want to say. You just have to like let everything else get out of the way.
When you're creating a video, obviously you hope the best for all of them, but the one, like you mentioned, you had no idea that some of the ones that have been so successful would ever be that successful. But do you kind of have a sense of like, I'm going to put this up because this is something that's really passionate to me, and then do you have other ones that you're like, I think this one's going to go huge, and is your instinct usually right?
I mean, sometimes, like with the Ed Sheeran song, I figured it, I anticipated it doing well, but I also was like, it could also do terrible, because sometimes when I think a video is going to do amazing, it doesn't. Like, I recently just covered Despacito, and I don't speak Spanish, but I had Leroy Sanchez, my friend.
Neither does Justin Bieber, apparently.
Yeah, I had him in the studio, and I was like, please, I don't care if I sound like I'm English trying to speak Spanish, like I have an accent or something, but please, I want to say all the words perfect. So we spent 2 full days in the studio recording that song, but it was so worth it. And I mean, I hope that the idea of me singing in Spanish and having never, like I don't speak Spanish, would be something people would want to watch. And now it's like breaking all the records for like the most viewed in a month, the most liked in a month. So it's cool to see that all that time and energy put into it was worth it.
Talk to me about the aspects of putting together a YouTube video aside from creating the music. Obviously, you always look fantastic. Talk to me about those elements and really how long you take before you start filming the video to get everything set up and that?
Yeah, well, my husband actually does all the filming for the project, which is awesome. He's actually standing back there. Filming me now, of course. But we've been trying to focus more on the minimal looks and the minimal video production, because I think that it's like, I feel when I first started on YouTube, nobody could film, so any kind of filming was really cool, right? And then everybody started getting cameras and having the ability to film really cool things. So then what we decided to do was take a step back and be like, we don't actually need all of the high production with the filming for it to look amazing. You just need a nice camera, some nice natural lighting, and we've been doing one takes lately, which has been really, really fun for me. Hard, very hard, but super worth it. I think they're just like, I don't know. It's more cool to just be able to do it in one take.
And talk to me about that working really, because a lot of people, they're like, okay, I see my significant other at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, and that's enough. But to work with your significant other, talk to me about what that's like and what that means for your relationship, how that's changed your relationship.
I mean, I think when we first started working and living together full time, it was just a little bit difficult trying to figure out like who plays what roles and when those roles change, because they evolve, naturally over the course of a relationship. But I don't know, I just kind of like being around him all the time, so it's really lucky that he also likes being around me all the time, because I know I'm the difficult one. I know he's wonderful, but
I'm sure he'd say the same, opposite.
No, I'm sure he would agree with me.
That also could be a good captain.
No, I think it's perfect, because there's nobody who's going to be more on my team and be fighting more for me than my husband. So I can 100% trust all of his advice and all of his opinions. I also have my own thoughts, but it's great to have somebody with me trying to, have my back in all moments. It's great.
You mentioned how the music industry kind of looks at people that have gotten their start on YouTube a little differently now. What would be your main advice, though, to somebody that is looking to start kind of down a path similar to yours? What do you feel like is the thing that you wish you'd known at the beginning that you know now?
That's a really good question. I think that I wish that I had, and I did have faith in my project. Like I did from day one, I had a vision, and I think that's really important. That's something that you should definitely know going into YouTube, because if you don't have a vision, you don't have like a big end goal in mind, it's going to get really daunting. It's going to get really, the grind is going to be really, really hard. You're not going to want to stay focused on it unless you have that light at the end of the tunnel. And I can tell you that at a lot of moments, I felt like I was solidly inside the tunnel. There's no way you can go back because you don't know how to, but you don't know exactly where you're going either. And just to having blind faith in those moments is so important. You just have to believe in the mission you had when you started.
Now, you